You are standing in the middle of your kitchen, and you hear a voice. It is yours. Keys, keys, where are the keys? Nobody else is home. There is no one to answer, and yet there you are, out loud, asking an empty room where you left the thing that is almost certainly in your pocket. Or maybe it is not the keys. Maybe you narrate your own cooking like there is a film crew that does not exist. Okay, now we add the garlic. Maybe you give yourself a quiet little pep talk in the bathroom mirror before a hard phone call. Maybe, if you are really honest, you have entire conversations with yourself when there is nobody around to have them with. And somewhere in the back of your mind, a small, slightly worried voice asks the question you would never say out loud. Do normal people do this? Is this what it looks like, right at the start, when someone loses it? What is wrong with me? So let me say it right up front. Nothing is wrong with you. You are not strange, you are not alone, and talking to yourself is not the first crack in a breaking mind. What you are doing is running one of the oldest, smartest tools your brain owns, in a room that simply used to be a lot more crowded. So get comfortable, because this is the story of why you talk to yourself when nobody is listening. And I will be honest with you. By the end, I think you are going to want to do it more, not less. Because that voice is not a glitch, it is a tool, one your ancestors could not have survived without. And to see what it was really built for, we have to go back. A long, long way back. Long before phones, before books, before any human had written down a single word. Picture your ancestors again, in a small band out on the open grassland. For them, language was not for small talk. Language was a survival tool. It was how you rehearsed the hunt out loud before you walked into something dangerous. It was how you pointed every pair of eyes in the group at the exact same animal. There, the brown one, moving left. It was how a plan could hang in the air long enough for 10 people to move as one body. For most of our story, speaking was just thinking, done out loud, together. And then our species did something quietly genius. We took that voice, the one built to steer the whole group, and we turned it around. We aimed it at ourselves. And you can actually watch that happen in a child today. A psychologist named Lev Vygotsky noticed it almost 100 years ago. Watch a 4-year-old build a tower of blocks, and they narrate the entire thing out loud. Now the red one. No, that one falls. Put it here. They are not performing for you. They are using their own voice to steer their own hands. And then, around the age of 7, something changes. That voice goes quiet. It dives underground and becomes the silent inner monologue you are hearing these very words in right now. But here is the part nobody tells you. The out-loud version never actually leaves. The spoken voice is the original. The silent one is just the upgrade. And when life gets hard, when the task gets heavy, the upgrade quietly rolls back, and the old voice comes out loud again to help. But think about what that voice was built for. A crowd, a band, people, always there, always within earshot. So what happens to a coordination tool like that when the crowd disappears? Because that, it turns out, is exactly what we did to ourselves next. That voice was built for a band, for people around you, for coordinating a group that was always there. But look at how you actually live now. You wake up alone. You work alone, headphones in a room of your own. You cook alone. You solve some of the hardest problems of your week with not one other human in earshot. So that ancient coordination voice, the one designed to point a whole tribe at the prey, has no tribe left to point at. And it fires anyway. At the kitchen, at the keys, at the empty hallway. It is not broken. It is doing its job perfectly. There is just nobody else standing in the room anymore. And then we did one more thing to ourselves. We built a whole culture that prizes a calm, sealed-up, quiet exterior. The person who keeps every thought on the inside reads as together. The person who thinks out loud reads as a little bit off. So you learned to whisper it, to check the room first, to feel that small flush of embarrassment when somebody catches you mid-sentence with no one there. We took the single most natural thing in the world, and we quietly decided it looked unwell. So that is the story we tell ourselves about that voice in the empty kitchen. That it is a leftover, an ancient tool built for a tribe, now misfiring into a room where nobody is left to hear it. A glitch. But I have been telling it to you that way on purpose, because it is wrong. That room was never empty. Somewhere along the way, without anybody deciding it, the tribe moved inside. You did not lose your audience when the band disappeared. You became it. And 4 different labs can show you exactly what that audience of 1 can do. So let me hand you the receipts. Because once you stop seeing it as a glitch, the science here gets a little thrilling. Start with the keys. In 2012, 2 researchers, Gary Lupien and Daniel Swingley, at the University of Wisconsin, had people search for objects and told some of them to say the object's name out loud while they looked. The ones who spoke the name found it faster. Saying keys, keys is not a quirk. It is your brain tuning your own eyes to the target. Naming a thing helps you see it. One honest catch, and we will always stay honest here. It only works for things you already know well. Mutter the name of something unfamiliar, and it can actually slow you down. But your keys? Your brain has known your keys for years. Then there is your memory. A researcher named Colin MacLeod at the University of Waterloo found something he called the production effect. Say a word out loud instead of reading it silently, and you remember it noticeably better. The act of speaking gives the word a little handle that your memory can grab onto later. So that grocery list you mutter to yourself on the way to the shop, you are not being scattered, you are burning it in. Then there is focus. At Bangor University, a researcher named Paloma Marie Beffa found that people who read their instructions out loud concentrated better and controlled the task better than the people who read the very same instructions in silence. Reading the hard step aloud is not nervous fidgeting, it is steering. And then, the big one, your feelings. A psychologist named Ethan Cross at the University of Michigan ran 7 studies with hundreds of people on how we talk ourselves through stress. And he found a strange, lovely little trick. When you coach yourself in the third person by your own name, come on, you have got this. You calm down faster than when you say, I. Just stepping outside yourself by changing one word hands your stressed brain a little distance. So the mirror pep talk works, and it works even better when you use your own name. 4 labs, 1 verdict. The voice you turned inward can help you find things, remember things, focus, and steady your own heart. That is not a symptom. That is a Swiss Army knife. That is what a tribe of 1 can do. So the only thing left to figure out is how to use it on purpose. But first, 1 honest breath. Okay, deep breath. Because I do not want to leave you picturing your own head as a haunted house with 1 nervous resident. So here is the honest version, because this is exactly where it would be easy to oversell. Talking to yourself is normal, and it is useful, and that is the whole truth of this. I am not telling you it is a secret badge of genius, and I am not diagnosing anybody with anything. If a voice ever feels like it is not yours, like it comes from outside you, or it turns cruel and commanding, that is a different conversation, and a gentle one with a real person who can help. But the running commentary in your kitchen, that is just you, using the oldest tool you own. So what do you actually do with all this? You stop apologizing for it, and then you turn it up, on purpose. Lost something? Say its name out loud and let your eyes go to work. Fiddly, frustrating task? Narrate the steps to yourself like a calm guide. Big, scary moment coming? Talk yourself into it the way you would talk a good friend into it, and use your own name when you do. Because that voice in your empty kitchen was never a crack in your mind. It is the oldest thing our species ever built. Language. Pointed, just this once, at an audience of exactly one. You. So the next time you catch yourself mid-sentence talking to the keys with nobody there to hear it, do not shush it. Let it talk. It is not crazy. It is your tribe brain still calling the roll, and the one who answered, this time, was you. So go on, narrate your dinner, coach yourself by name, mutter your little plans to the empty room, and maybe send this to that one friend you have caught talking to themselves in the car. Tell them the science says they have been doing it right all along.